Move over, kids. Today, I woke up and there was a disturbance in the Triforce, a presence I had not felt in a very long time, and that presence was that of an unknown timeline. Somebody's been messing with my Zelda timeline. Oh, and that someone is Nintendo. Oh my gosh. Nintendo straight up went on the Japanese, not European, not American. They straight up went on the Japanese website, their website, and said, you know what? I think that game should go here, and let's throw that game here, and where should Breath of the Wild go? You know what? There's 3 timelines. Why not all 3? All 3? Breath of the Wild now is at the end of all 3 of the official Zelda timelines. Oh, and to me, that's not even the biggest news. The biggest news is that they rearranged the timeline as well. Oh my gosh. And they did it in such a Nintendo manner that it's almost mind-blowing in that it was so nonchalant. They didn't tell anybody they were going to do it. They just updated their website, and there it was. They know there's a bunch of fanboys out there, that will throw a fit. So welcome to my fit. No, I mean, it's not really a fit, but this video, I feel I've spent enough money on Zelda that I'm allowed to say my piece, okay? So, I'm not really mad though, but I am a little concerned. Okay, so, let's just get this right off the bat. The elephant in the room here is that Miyamoto himself never actually wanted a timeline. He straight up did not want a timeline. I'm going to read you an excerpt from this book. It is Zelda, The History of a Legendary Saga, Volume 1. This is from Third Editions. It's a publisher in France, but this is the English translation. Very good English translation, though. And I funded their Indiegogo. They sent me the book. This company, they will actually record and research the history of video game companies and the franchises of video games. And they write, the creator's own statements are not much more enlightening. Miyamoto had often commented that the Zelda games were developed with a primary emphasis on gameplay, rather than any concern for a consistent story. He even went so far as to say that he didn't want to establish an official timeline for fearing of constraining his creative process. So to be fair, Miyamoto, he never wanted a timeline. But us nerds, we crave timelines. We need timelines to I don't know, for us to sleep at night. Otherwise, we'll just fan make the timelines, and that's what we were doing. We were just fan making timelines. We were saying this. We had all of these arguments, and we just begged and begged. Well, I begged. Everybody else probably just was like, "Hey, Nintendo." They asked nicely, but I begged for timelines, and finally we get this statement. Anuma accidentally revealed something. He accidentally revealed something that was just like a red flag. Maybe it wasn't an accident, but I'll tell you what, us fanboys, we went crazy. If only Anuma hadn't later revealed that there was, in fact, a general timeline. So here, we all thought there wasn't a timeline. Then Anuma, the heir apparent to Miyamoto, says there is a general timeline carefully preserved in a confidential document that only Miyamoto, the current director of the game, and Anuma himself were allowed to see. Nintendo also wanted to avoid sharing it with anyone else so that it would remain free to add new titles before and after any given episode. So Nintendo's like, no, we don't even want to see it. Just you two look at it. We don't care. La 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 la. So there was a timeline, and so then all our fans are like, please. And then boom, we get this. Anuma oversees the 2011 Dark Horse release of the Hyrule Historia, the official timeline. Again, another Nintendo decision. They create a timeline and they don't even release it in a video game, though there is a digital copy on the Wii U bundle, and I even talk about that copy in my Why the Wii U is the greatest Zelda machine of all time. Maybe not the greatest Nintendo machine, but the greatest Zelda machine of all time. Anyways, Anuma, the heir apparent, as I said, is now overseeing this, creates a timeline. The timeline is actually 3 timelines. It starts off in Skyward Sword, then it goes to Minish Cap, then it goes to Ocarina of Time. This is where it gets complicated. In the final battle with Ganon, Link dies, and that creates the Fallen Hero timeline. Alternate universe, final battle with Ganon, Link wins, and that creates adult Link timeline, because he just continues on. Then, it also, Link wins final battle, he returns as a kid to his original timeline 7 years prior, and that timeline continues. So now there's 3 timelines. Very complicated, but because Miyamoto really never wanted a timeline, he always thought of it as standalone stories. He wasn't concerned with anything, so I guess in order to make everything work, they had to split it in 3. Whatever, we accepted it. But now there's Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild comes out, and we're like, where does this go? There's arguments. There's a lot of game theories, great videos on YouTube. Check them out. But we're all arguing, where does Breath of the Wild go? Has to go at the end of one of the 3. Or some people suggesting maybe there's a 4th timeline. Oh, we don't want a 4th timeline. But people are suggesting that. And so, overnight, Nintendo just straight up updates their Japanese website and says Zelda Breath of the Wild is at the end of, wait for it, drum roll, wait for it, it is at the end of all 3 timelines. What? How is it at the end of all 3 timelines? It can't be at the end of all 3 timelines. They're saying it's at the end of all 3 timelines. In a very Miyamoto, I know this is Miyamoto move, they basically say, you think it's at the end of the Fallen Hero timeline? Okay. You think that it's at the end of the Wind Waker timeline? Okay. Twilight Princess timeline? Okay. Whatever you feel, that's where it is. No, someone has to be right. Someone has to be wrong. I can't think it's after Wind Waker, while my friend Hunter thinks it's after Twilight Princess. What if Riley thinks it's at the Fallen Hero timeline? We can't all be right. We just can't. I'm right. They're wrong. No, I mean, I'm okay with being wrong, but Wind Waker's world is so different. A catastrophe happened so grand that there's just no way possible that 10,000 years could not have passed where you had the same exact meeting of people. Does that make sense? That is very, I don't know, a very science fiction-y reason why this couldn't happen, but it's true. You can't have the same parallel universes have almost the same exact outcome when the catastrophe is so great in the Wind Waker timeline. It's just impossible. Breath of the Wild can happen maybe at the end of all 3 timelines. It's possible to happen at the end of all 3, but it's not possible that it could just be at the end of all 3 unless something happened that kind of bottlenecked the timelines to creating one giant timeline again to fix the split that happened at Ocarina of Time. Now, if that's the case, I'm fine with it. If that was the next Zelda game, I'm totally cool with that happening. But until we get the game, or they say there's an event that actually brought all the timelines together, then no, it's just impossible, and it hurts my nerd brain, maybe even my nerd heart, to know that they just straight up said Breath of the Wild's at the end of all 3 timelines without a real explanation other than just go with your feelings. Oh, Nintendo, you know Nintendo, I'm going to stick up for you almost in anything, but I can't. I'm drawing a line here. You're messing with my timeline. And I will say this also. This is what I feel is the most important thing. The most important thing is the fact that Nintendo actually changed the timeline. In the Fallen Hero section of the timeline, it used to go Link to the Past, Oracle of Season, Oracle of Ages. It was a simultaneous release. Then Link's Awakening. Then Zelda 1, Zelda 2. First off, they added, right before Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link Between Worlds and Triforce Heroes. That's totally okay, because Link Between Worlds happens 6 generations after Link to the Past. So it should go almost right before Zelda 1, Zelda 2 on the NES. Triforce Heroes is almost kind of sort of a direct sequel to Link Between Worlds, so that's cool also. That placement is great. But what they did here was they just took Link's Awakening and moved it. They moved it above Ages and Seasons, and now it's right after Link to the Past. And that is huge. Why is it huge? Well, for starters, it creates the possibility of another Link, because we all thought that Link to the Past, Oracle of Season Ages, and Link's Awakening was the same Link, but now it's possible they're not, because Awakenings was obviously, we all knew Awakenings was linked to the past. We all knew that. Now that it comes right after links to the past, it means that it's possible Ages and Seasons is a brand new link. Just a straight up new link. What does that matter? Well, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. There's multiple links through multiple generations, so who really cares? But here is where it really matters. The fact that Nintendo felt okay with changing it. How long did it take for us to get this? Let's see, 2011, Zelda came out in 86, 25 years for them to nail down a timeline, for them to finally cave in and say, okay, fine, here, take a timeline, you nerds. But, what? 11 to 2008, 7 years later, they're okay with just changing it. They straight up changed it. 25 years it took us to get this, and now they're just changing it. If you change it once, who's to say you can't change it again? So the Breath of the Wild thing, okay, I don't agree with it, but at least it was just like we added it. But when you start straight up changing things that you've established, well then, anarchy. It's straight up anarchy. Who's to say they can't just say, no, you know what? No, there's only 2 timelines now. No. Breath of the Wild now just comes in between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And we're like, what? How? Oh, it just does. You know, they can do whatever they want at this point. And they can do whatever they want. Okay, I get it. It's their property, and it's a video game. Who cares? But you know what? I care. I care. They can do whatever they want, I get it, but they should be confined to the rules that they create. Now, to be fair, though, I'm going to read you something. Okay, so we have the timeline right here. Well, if you go to this part of the book, right before the timeline, there's a paragraph. It's a pesky little paragraph. This chronicle merely collects information that is believed to be true at this time. And there are many obscured and unanswered secrets that still lie within the tale. As the stories and storytellers of Hyrule change, so too does its history. Hyrule's history is a continuously woven tapestry of events. Changes that seem inconsequential, disregarded without even a shrug, could evolve at some point to hatch new legends and perhaps change the tapestry of history itself. There you have it. This official timeline, they literally were like, here you go, here's your official timeline, but then they stuck a paragraph in saying, but we're going to change it. Every day could be a new timeline. So you see the problem with Nintendo's latest addition and changes to the timeline? The fact that they changed it is the problem. Nothing's set in stone again. The importance of setting a precedence like this is, I can't stress it enough. So, there you have it. That was the disturbance in the Triforce, and it is going to be ongoing, because from this point forward, it's the Wild Wild West with the Zelda Timeline. We can just change it at a whim. But, at the end of the day, it's still great entertainment. I still love Nintendo. I still love Miyamoto and Aonuma. So, that's pretty much my rant. What do you think? Did I cover it? Do you agree, disagree, care, don't care? Am I just like, whoa, dude, calm down? I'm passionate about my Zelda, if you couldn't tell. I love it. So, it is dangerous to go alone. Please comment, share, click the bell. I'm usually not this fanboyish. Maybe I'm a little fanboyish, but not this fanboyish. Click the bell for notifications. It's dangerous to go alone. Please share this channel with a friend. Have a great day.